I'm Chris Rains. I'm 19. I went to Golden School till about 5th grade. Then I left to go to private school, then to homeschool, then to private school again, and now I'm going to TJC, and I'm getting my prerequisites done for the nursing LVN program. And I am currently working as a locksmith for Pritchett Protection. And I previously worked as a barista in Henry's House of Java, or Brouhaha, the coffee shop in Mineola. And I work with my dad in his porta potty business once a month for First Monday, and that's the family business. I grew up with my two brothers, Brandon and Justin. They were my half brothers, but pretty much as close to blood brothers as you can get. They beat me up a lot. Brandon was very crazy, and he was doing like stunts and stuff all the time, and setting stuff on fire and going off roofs, and Justin, you know, kind of picked on him a lot and probably put him through a lot of stuff, and I got like twofold from Brandon's resentment towards him. But no, they're great. And I remember one time Brandon handed me a video camera and he told me to film his stunt idea that he learned from a popular TV movie and TV show, to where he got put on inline skates and duct taped like bottle rockets and other fireworks, like propulsion fireworks, to his skates. So I'm like, alright, cool, I'm gonna film this. And I was filming it, and he lit them, and he went like 2 inches, and then they just like flipped around and then started burning a hole through his foot. It burned through the skate, and it like just was scorching his foot. And we had this like little kiddie swimming pool that he jumped into to like put the skate fire off. And I was like so mixture of like satisfied that this was happening and like freaked out that this was happening, because I was afraid that he was like gonna lose his foot, but at the same time it was really funny. You could just see him like just running in circles, like trying to cool his foot off. And he ended up telling Mom that he dropped a firecracker on his bare foot and lied about it, so he didn't, like, a pointless lie, just so they didn't like get in trouble for doing something stupid. And I had the film of it, but he threatened that if I ever told Mom that he'd beat me up, and so he hid the tape until I dug it up and found it, once Mom found the skates with the hole burnt in them and showed it to her. And that was like 2 years later, and it was pretty funny. That's one of my more favorite memories with my brother. It's just like a perfect, like, penultimate example of the many stupid things I got to witness and be a part of. If I had a time machine, I would go back to the 20s in Paris and hang out with Scott Fitzgerald and Ernest Hemingway, and basically just go to the cafes and the old jazz clubs and stuff with them. And then I would start robbing banks with John Dillinger. Be pretty awesome. I love that time period. The whole idea of like gangster bank robbers, the whole like romanticism behind like just going in there with Tommy gun, dressed nice, and kind of just being slick is awesome to me. Oh gosh, what is my favorite video game? You know, I used to know the answer to this question, and I can't remember for the life of me.
How about top 3?
See, alright. I mean, yeah, I really love Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. That one's pretty amazing. I like sailing in ships and stuff. I've always wanted to be a pirate. Okami for the Wii. If you take away, like, of course, Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, and you know, it's like, yeah, what's your favorite band other than the Beatles, or who's your favorite Bible character except for Jesus? You know, like, you know, you just take those out, and I would probably say Okami for the Wii is one of my favorite games, because it's just super artistic, and you get to play as a wolf, and it's pretty cool. I don't care. There are 2 key moments to when God showed himself in my life. The first one was when I first entered in a relationship with God. Was when I was around 9 or 10, I drove out in like our little buggy or four-wheeler out in the pasture, like in our fields, because you know we live on a lot of land. And I drove out there by our creek, and I always go out whenever I want to think. And for some reason, I brought my Bible with me because I wanted to like explore the Bible, and I particularly just flipped it open randomly, and I wanted to read the words that Jesus read. So I found the page with the most red print on it, and that was the Sermon on the Mount. And I read that, and Jesus describes what it means to be perfect, you know, and like those who are blessed in heaven, and you know, like just kind of like what it means to be a perfect individual through Christ, you know, like through God, and you know what it means to be like God. And I realized that I wasn't any of those things, and that I really come to grips to what it meant to be a sinner. But I realized what was really unique, I guess, in my realization, not like specifically like I'm unique in realizing this, but what I found was that I didn't need God because I had sinned. I needed God because I've done nothing but sin, you know, and that was kind of my life, you know, not necessarily because I was a bad kid or anything. I realized that nothing I did really met up with what, you know, God's standards were, or what the law was, or anything like that. I wasn't a perfect individual, and that really struck me. And I cried like a child, really, and I came to the conclusion that, you know, I could only depend on God to reach this. I couldn't depend on myself, and I couldn't depend on my family, and I couldn't depend on my friends to make me a perfect individual. I had to depend on God. Turn your phone off. No. And the second time that God really influenced my life was about 3 years ago, I think. I had really hit a big time low in my spiritual walk with God, I suppose to call it, and I felt I was really active in church. I was active in a lot of different church events with different churches, even other than just Sand Springs, and I got really involved, and I was getting praised a lot constantly. Like for me, I felt like for me it felt like a lot. And I actually felt like it was too much, because I didn't believe that I deserved the praise that I was getting. And I thought, these guys are out of their mind. I'm not this person that they think I am, or anything like that. Like my friends don't even, know how screwed up I am, I guess. Like, even though I'm not even really messed up, I just had this self-defeating guilt. And that I was really just a really dark place, and I ended up not sleeping for 3 days straight. And I ended up, one day, the last memory I had was closing the door to my truck, and then waking up the next day fully clothed, because I had went 3 days without exhaustion, because it just drove me crazy, because I just knew I didn't apply God's grace in my life, and that was the problem. And it wasn't until I was in Tuesday church that I was sitting there one day, and I looked terrible, and someone called me out. And I walked out with a good friend of mine, and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I'm just going through this thing, and I'm okay." And he's like, "No, like what? You look terrible." And I said that I don't believe that I deserve to be here with these people. I don't believe that I deserve God's grace, and I don't believe that I deserve life in general, like this gift, because it's too good and it's too great, and I don't deserve grace. And then he just told me that I was basically stupid for thinking that. He's a very blunt person, and that God, you can't do anything to deserve grace. He's like, God loves us, and God died not for a group of people, not for the person next to you, not for your family. God died for you, and only you. And it really kind of just struck a chord with me, and I just changed. I really became just obsessed with the idea of grace in my life, and I realized that I was putting my happiness on myself and not on God, and I was depending on other people and for my happiness instead of God, and I didn't really accept that grace into my life on a day-to-day basis. And it wasn't until just kind of that wake-up call that God was giving me, that that he really just, like, it was just revealed to me what grace meant and how it affected my life, you know, and that's kind of become just my goal as a Christian, is to love others and to love God and to ultimately love myself, because you can't love anyone else if you don't love yourself first. And I love myself because God loved me, and that's yeah, that was that moment. Every time I go out to my dog, he jumps. He's got these sharp little claws, and they just like make me look like I'm cutting myself because he just claws up all my arms and stuff. Like that one's kind of faded, but that was my dog, and that was my dog. Stupid dog. The best piece of advice, other than to believe in God, that my father told me was, if you work half as hard as you play, you're gonna do all right. That's kind of the main sense of a lot of lessons he tried to teach me, was to believe in God and work really, really, really hard so that you can do what you want and provide for your family and more important things than just doing what you want. But yeah, so that would probably be mine. I hang out with a lot of old farts that are just constantly telling you like really cool things, and it would be so hard to choose. The little tidbit, just do the next right thing. And it's like, whenever you're just confused and you just don't know what to do, just do the next right thing, no matter like how small or how big it is. Like if it's like just like to take out the trash, or to like play with your kids, spend time with your kids, or work on that new project you haven't been working on. I don't know, that one really stuck with me. It's just just do the next right thing, no matter what it is. So that's probably another one that's just really, really good. One of the biggest influences to my life would have to be my father and my mother, you know, both of them. But my father especially, just because he works on a day-to-day basis so hard with his company, that it's just like to his, like, just to his hands to the bone, like constantly. Like he just never stops. And even like when he's discouraged, he still like gets up the next day and does it. And he has never stopped working and moving constantly, even when he's home, like since I've been alive, you know. And that's just been a very big example for me, because I'm a procrastinator on a lot of aspects of my life, and he's definitely an inspiration and and he's constantly challenging me. Anytime that I ever do get lazy, he will be the first to let me know that I shouldn't do that. And one of the things he told me here recently, he said, the only two things I would be disappointed in you in is if you killed someone, or if you just didn't try. And as long as you're trying and not killing anyone, he's proud. And so, yeah, he's definitely the most influential person in my life. Yes. Trees. I got this scar when I was like really young. I don't know an age. It was a Christmas party, a family Christmas party we were having at my house, and I jumped on a four-wheeler with like 4 or 5 other kids, and we were all just like piled on it, and we were speeding down the road, and we ended up sliding into a barbed wire fence. And my cousin Amber pulled me back just in time, and it would have like got my eye probably, but it just went up and hit me right here in the forehead. The full barbed wire fence just like took it. It was 19 stitches, and ended up getting her in like the upper kind of chest, I think, and that's where it hit her. So we're scar buddies. But yeah, so that way people can stop asking about it. Well, that's me. I'm Chris, and I'm your neighbor. The Star Wars original trilogy, the only trilogy worth mentioning, the reason why that is the best movie that has just been made is because, one, it was just hit out of nowhere. It was ambitious, and it was just great You know, with what they had, they made an awesome movie, and it's a story about like a hero out of nowhere coming to face with his daddy issues and just this epic battle of good versus evil, and it contains so many different character types from history in it, and it's just good. And if you haven't watched it, you are not a full human being. You have not seen the light, and I want you to stop watching this video and go and watch Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. Why are you still watching? Go! I said watch it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Turn it off. Go watch Star Wars. For all those who have seen it and are still watching, I apologize for that interruption. Oh wait, is this the end of the clip? Kill it if that is.